requirements for job creation. So this TIF committee had been formed prior to my arrival here, and I thought it was a good tool to continue with this group, to get their input and to talk over the issues when there's an issue concerning a TIF. The participants in that were Adam Bond, Judy McDonald, Barbara Erickson, Ruth Jeffroy, Nancy Thomas, and typically the town manager, but Steve was away during that time, and I did provide him with a memo to update him on the status of these TIFs. With Brookfield Engineering, there's specifically in some of our TIFs, and I think we learned as we progressed in developing and designing these TIFs to put more specific quantifiable data into the agreements. And there were a couple of, for example, that came up that I am following up on because there was concerns that they're not meeting their agreements, and we will shortly be having another TIF meeting with regard to those others. But this particular one right now, Brookfield Engineering, I met with a company. I went out on a site visit, tried to understand where they were coming from, why they weren't reaching their numbers. This is a very successful business in our town. They have, early on when they went into the TIF agreement with us, began a lean manufacturing process, which is an opportunity to look at how they do business and to streamline, downsize equipment, become more efficient. And as they became more efficient, they realized that they were not right-sized to begin with. An explanation that was offered to me by the CFO there was, since right-sizing staff in the mid-2002 at 160 employees, they've increased their headcount to 177 as of February 29th, which is an average annual increase of 1.88% over 5.7 years. They have reported to me that they expect the headcount to remain flat but continue its recently established upward trend when the economy improves. We will continue to give hiring preference to qualified residents of Middleborough, and they do that through their advertising process. I did review that they do reach out through Middleborough publications, the Gazette, and other, the Enterprise. So they do reach out to Middleborough employees. So that's the reason why I came to the amended language that you see before you in this article. For the state's purposes, this does need to be amended, or they will consider decertification of the project. If the local municipality is in agreement with this, they will consider what we have to say, and then they won't go through the decertification process. This is a good company. They do contribute back in addition to hiring. Considering Middleborough employees, they do have a strong sense of participation in the community in terms of donating. For example, they're part of the capital campaign program at the Y, $10,000 for several years. They're donating there. But of all the companies that I've looked at in terms of donations, they are very generous to this community overall. Are there any questions?
Yeah, your view is that this article should be supported.
Yes.
And that this company is worth continuing to work with on the TIF.
Yes.
The only question is, in terms of the language differential, you go from a number
right
to a soft, fuzzy feeling.
Right.
How do you justify that?
Well, I try to work with them to try to, quantify that, and they really see, especially with the economy where it is, they couldn't commit to an increase. I know it's difficult, when you receive these numbers, to justify that change, but as I said, I understand the concept of lean manufacturing. And this company they're profitable, they are a good business in town, they contribute back. And initially, my understanding, this was one of the earlier TIF agreements, and my understanding in just talking to some of the members of the TIF committees that we initially were seeking the tax revenue. That was the priority for the town of Middleborough. And the creation of jobs was more the priority at that time of the state. So we were looking at bringing in tax revenue.
What is the savings on the TIF annually to them?
Pardon?
What amount do they save annually with the TIF?
Right now, they're down to their TIF agreement is believe 15 to 10%. Do you know what it was? 15%, it's at 15%.
What are we talking about in dollars for everybody else to understand?
Well, this past year, fiscal 2008, it was probably right around just a little over $11,000 that Brookfield saved on their taxes, and they generated to the town over $70,000.
And they gave away to the YMCA when? When did they do that, 10,000?
They're still part of the capital campaign.
Okay.
They've contributed this past year. But in addition, I don't have that in front of me right now, but they've given to a number of organizations in town.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Yes.
With this soft number, this sort of not even a number, they will continue to get the tax break, but you have no way of saying to them, oh, but you haven't hired any employees. Am I correct?
You haven't added or
Right.
expanded.
Right, you haven't added or expanded.
Right.
But they continue to get the tax break.
Right. Initially, when they were intending to physically expand to increase the size of their operation, and that didn't happen. They continue. The tax break is going continually down.